Clinton Anderson, and I have a method for training horses. Getting horses to behave is simple. It's training people that's the real trick. Join me as I tackle some of the most challenging situations with problem horses and with problem owners. Okay, mate, now we're ready to start changing leads on Fauna, okay? She can do the cigar exercise well. She can do the counter-cantering well. She's been, walking up for it the last, 8 months. She's more than ready now to start changing leads. So let's get started, okay? So it doesn't really matter, what side you start on, really, as a good rule of thumb, okay? Let me see if I can slow this down a little bit at the walk and explain what I'm doing before I actually get into it. I'm going to be loping a circle to the right on my left lead. So I'm going to be sitting like this a little bit. My right leg's going to be on, kind of right behind the girth a little bit. I'm sitting on my right butt cheek. My left leg is out, and I've kind of opened up the door. I'm trying to get her to do this at the walk, but anyway, it kind of looks like that. And then when I go to change, I'm going to do the complete opposite. I'm going to sit on this butt cheek, take my right leg off, put my left leg on, and see how that pushed a hip to the inside. Let me set this up again. So because I'm counter-cantering, her shoulder is already off to my left, which makes it easy for a hip to step that way. My right leg's on, pushing her shoulders that way, that way, that way, that way. Now watch. I take my right leg off, put my left leg on, and see how that exaggerated pushed her hip up there. And that is what gets the lead change. Now, to exaggerate it, I kind of count to 4. 1, 2, 3, 4, change. 1, 2, 3, 4, change. And what you're trying to do is, in a perfect world, you're trying to ask for the lead change when her front feet are on the ground. Okay, so what I do is every time her front feet hit the ground, I count 1. 1, 2, 3, 4. And then as I say 4, I then change legs so that her hind feet are coming off the ground, and usually it's a little easier to pick up that lead. Now, here's all the butt parts. When you first do this, they don't know what you want them to do. So they might speed up, they might jump sideways, they might kick at your leg. There's a million variables here, okay? So we're just gonna have to walk through them as they go. But the trick is, you've got to put enough outside leg on to cause them to basically do a little side pass in midair. Like they're loping, 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 you change legs, and that's flying lead change. So you're basically doing like a little side pass in midair. So the trick is, you've got to have enough leg to cause them to move off it, but not so much leg that you scare them and they blow through it. That's the trick. So obviously, until you do it a couple of times, you're not quite sure how much leg you have to use. So what I tell people in the beginning is, if you're willing to be a little more exaggerated, 1, 2, 3, 4, change. If you're more exaggerated with your body movement and your leg movement, it makes it much easier for them to get the flying lead change. You're probably better off being a smidgen, I hate to say this because I don't want to people take this out of context, but you're probably better off being a little bit too assertive or a little bit too much leg pressure than not enough. Because if you don't put enough leg pressure, they just lean on your leg and they get dull and they drop to a trot and they act like a big pig. So you're better off maybe kind of jolting them into it a little bit. Hate to say it like that because I don't want some wanker getting out there and just friggin' harpooning the shit out of him, and Clinton said do it, okay? I'm not saying that. I'm saying you gotta, come on, pull your finger out. Let's step up there. Let's just get on with it and see what the hell happens, okay? So, pick up the left lead. So we're loping around. I'm going to do it more towards the center of the arena, so hopefully you can see more what my legs are doing. So I'm not going to let it get too slow. So I'm going to speed her up just a little bit here. Just not run her off, but just a little bit of speed, okay? So we're coming around, right leg. 1, 2, 3, 4. There we go. We got the change. She's a little bit nervous now, so I'm going to wait till she softens. Wait till she softens. Wait till she softens in the face. Gets relaxed. Gets relaxed. And now I'm going to just drop her down to a trot and trot 3 circles. I always break them down to a trot after I change and then trot 3 circles. I never break them down to a trot until I get them soft at the lope and then drop them down. Don't just change and then let them drop straight down, because that'll cause them to do what we call a lazy change or a simple lead change. So when I kind of kicked her a little bit, she kind of ran off a little bit, not bad. I said, come here, baby, come to me. I softened her up. When she got relaxed and soft, then I broke her down, okay? And now I just let her walk again, okay? So we'll try that again. I'm gonna pick up the left lead. So next time, I'm going to try to put on just a little bit less leg to get the change, okay? So I'm just going to wait. She feels a little bit on the pec right there, but she was wanting to move a little bit too far forward. Get her soft. Okay. So I'm pushing with my right leg. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. That's all right. That's all right. She kind of started a step there. Now she's soft, and I'm going to break her down. So right then, she kind of had a little bit of a stutter step where she got a little bit confused. She half tried to stop. Not a big deal. She did nothing wrong there whatsoever. Good girl. But she got the change, okay? So now I'll let her walk for a little bit, and we'll try it again. So most of the time, I'm going to teach them to do a lead change out of the canna. If I'm having trouble with that, I might have to go to the cigars or some other exercises I'll show you, but as a good rule of thumb. Righto, let's pick up the right lead. Okay, so let's get a lope and left on the right lead. Let me do one whole circle, and when I come back towards the middle, I'll change again. And this time I'm going to kind of change as I come around, so maybe that camera can pick up. Next time what I'm going to do is try to change right about here, so maybe that camera can see and this camera can see a little bit, okay? Don't have too much bend to their neck when you go to change. I'll probably let them straighten out just a little bit. She feels a little heavy there, so I'm going to bump on her jaw if I need to get her softened to me. Okay, so not going to let her get too lazy here, so I'm just driving her a little bit here. Okay, driving her. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. There we go. She threw her head up a little bit. Very normal. I'm waiting till she gets soft. There. And now I'll trot 3 circles. And typically I trot the circles to the inside. If they're diving in, I might trot to the outside. But I break them down to a trot and make sure she gets nice and relaxed here. Okay. Then I let her walk. Let her relax a little bit. Let her think about that. So very typical that she raised her neck up. She pulled on my hands a little bit. Don't worry about that stuff. Because she didn't get away with anything because I didn't let the reins go. It'd only be bad if she threw her head up and grabbed the bit and I let the reins go. Then it'd be a release of pressure. Okay, let's try it again. Pick up the right lead. So next time around, I'll do it again about here, and we'll see if we can see what's going on. You know, I'm trying to change and talk and do everything at the same time to try to get you to figure out what I'm doing. So, what do I mean by letting her lope too slow? Like, watch this. I don't want her just dribbling along like this, look. Like she's barely loping. 1, 2, 3, 4. Good girl. Good girl. Good girl. It's about time I put on a little less leg, and she still changed. Did you notice she didn't throw her head up so much that time? Okay. Good girl. So, she's done 2 changes each way, each lead. Done. Could not be happy with her right now. How you would screw her up right now is, oh shit, we got 4. Let's go for 8. No, we got 4. Put it in the bank. As Ian Francis said, training a horse is like putting a little deposit in the bank. If every day you put $5 in the bank, pretty soon, after a few years, you got a hell of a lot of money, don't you? Just put a little bit of money in the bank every day. And after a couple of years, you got a big pot of gold. The negative of continuing to do this is that she may start to get more and more anxious. She'll start thinking, oh, every time we counter-canter, we're gonna change. So tomorrow, I'm gonna go back and do counter-cantering with her. I'm gonna do the cigars. And then if she feels relaxed and she's confident, then I'll change a couple more leads. And typically when I first start changing leads, I usually like to change about 2 to 4 a day for the first week or so until I get the hang of it. Once they kind of understand what I want, doesn't mean they're great at it, but they understand what I want, then I usually just change leads once each day. You change 2 leads a day, 6 days a week for 18 months, that's a hell of a lot of lead change, isn't it? Now, after I've been changing leads for about 6 or 7 months, then I usually change them about 4 times in every ride. Change leads 4 times. As they get better broke, I change more leads too. But if I just progressively build on it, it's not a big deal. So Fauna really did exactly what a horse should do if you've done your preparation. So let's get the other colts out and see what they do, and if they make some mistakes, we can fix them. I can help Luke with it, and then after that, we'll be bringing out older horses that have already been changing for a while. Okay, Luke, just lope around one more circle to the left. Luke's riding another 2-year-old. His name's Vulcan. He's had the same amount of riding as Fauna, and Luke's done all the work on this colt. And we're just gonna start teaching this colt and Luke how to change leads. Okay, Luke, go ahead and work on the cigars, mate, just to make sure he can do it. Actually, why don't you come across and just counter-canter through here? Come through the middle and just do a couple of circles counter-cantering just to make sure he can do it fine. Show everybody. Now, remember when you counter-canter and when you go to change leads, Luke, don't let him get too slow now. He's almost too slow, you know? Like, if you let the momentum get too slow, they have to work real hard to change. So as you can see, this colt, Luke's got this colt real soft in his hands, soft in the face. He's got a lot of cadence to it. Work on a few cigars. Come across here now, Luke. Okay. He's picking him up. He's got his right leg on. When he gets towards the fence, he's going to turn left. Turn, turn, turn. Just kind of a sharp turn. Now pick him up. Right hand up, left hand down. He's pushing that shoulder over, softening that face. If you cannot do this without any resistance, you have no business. Luke, don't get quite so close to the fence, okay? It's too hard for the cameras to pick you up when you get so close to the fence, especially over there. If you cannot do the cigars without any resistance, you're wasting your time. Righto, Luke. Now, counter-canter down this way, okay? So, over there near that horse and rider sign, I'm going to have you change, okay? So, sit on your right butt cheek. Come on, speed him up a little bit. Come on, speed him up. And you're going to count. Count out loud. 1, 2, 3, 4, change. Kick. There you go. Soften him up, soften him up. Slow him down, slow him down, slow him down. Slow him down, slow him down. That's it. Now trot your circle. Trot your circles. So when you first put your leg on, he didn't really change, eh? Okay? So then you had to put a little bit more leg on to get him to change. So Luke, what happened over there when you went to change leads, mate?
I didn't use quite enough leg there to get him to change. He was a little bit late when I first pressed. I didn't use enough spur, and then he got a little bit worried there at the end, a little stiff.
Yeah. That's almost why I tell you I'd rather you put a little too much leg on in the beginning and get the change. Because I find when you put the leg on and don't put it on enough, and then you start having a kick, then they start racing.
Right.
Where if you just kind of, it's hard to explain, but if you just kind of thump them over, you know, jolt them over, they still speed up, but they seem to run less. Okay. But when you start digging, kicking, they just get faster on you. Okay? So pick up the left lead again, lope around there, do a circle or two, and then we'll change again. Probably the same spot. So we'll go around again. You're not going to let him get too slow, though. That's a big key to this, is not letting him get too slow. So next time around, like about here, you're going to change and kind of in front of me. But you're going to push 1, 2, 3, 4, change legs, change butt cheeks, the whole deal. So just speed him up just a smidgen. That's it. And you almost push him off a little bit before you change. So keep coming around. I'll get out of the road. So 1, 2, 3, 4, change. There you go. So, slow him down, slow him down, slow him down, slow him down. Break him to a trot now. Righto, break him to a trot now. Soon as you get him slowed down, Luke, I need you to break him down to a trot. Okay? Once you get him back to a comfortable lope, break him down immediately. Okay? So, righto. Now just walk him over here. Righto. So what did you find happened that time?
It was definitely more aggressive with my leg, and so he went off a little bit faster, but he changed instantly as soon as I pressed.
Yeah, so he changed instantly, but he sped up on you.
Yeah.
And that's not a big deal. Just go ahead and slow him back down. So now you've got kind of a starting point of how much leg to put on. So next time you change, you're going to put on that much or maybe even a little less. You get what I'm saying?
That makes sense.
So you got a starting point of how much to put on. Okay?
Okay.
Let's go try it one more time. Except we won't change in the same spot. We'll change, say, over here.
Okay.
Because if you change in the same spot too many times, they'll get anticipating it. So get him going. Lope one full circle before we do it again. Keep your hands wider. Lower and wider your hands, the better. Don't get them in narrow. That's it. Doesn't need to go any faster than that. So next time you're going to change out here in front of me a little bit, okay?
Okay.
But really count the rhythm. Every time his front feet hit the ground, it's 1, 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Change. Good man. Good man. Slow him down. Good man. Excellent. Real good then. Real good. Now, did you notice that time, Luke? One, it didn't look like it took as much leg to get him to change, did it?
Right, yes. It was a lot easier.
And what'd you notice? It was much quicker to bring him back, wasn't it?
Yeah, he didn't speed up quite as much, and it was a lot softer.
Yeah, rub on his neck a little bit, tell him he did good, that's great. So that's what happened. You didn't have to put as much leg on, and because of that, he didn't run off so much, did he?
Right.
Okay, so that's your starting point. So we're gonna go the other way now, but it's again, new side, new brain, new horse, so we're gonna have to, you know, get a new starting point.
Okay.
So go pick up the right lead, and we're gonna counter-canter, okay? First change is going to be over here somewhere. So lope a couple of circles first. Wide hands, low and wide hands. So next time, you're going to change kind of out here in front of me. But I want you to count so I can hear you. I want you to count the numbers. I'm not going to count the numbers for you. So every time his front feet hit the ground, that's 1. For example, 1, 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Start counting.
1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4.
There you go. Slow him down, slow him down, slow him down. Good, man. Keep loping. Now drop him down. Trot 3 circles. All right, just let him walk off. So tell me what happened that time.
I pressed pretty good with my leg. He was a little bit late on it, but I feel like I should have moved his shoulder off a little bit more right before I asked for it.
Yes, I think the same thing. So again, it's on the 1, 2, 3, 4, it's like 1, 2, 3, 4, change. So literally push him off a couple of strides. So that way, when you put the leg on, it's more exaggerated. Where I felt like you just went like this and then like that.
Yep.
You know, remember, exaggerate the teach. So go lope around again on the right lead. We'll do 1 full circle, and then we'll try and change him again. So you literally kind of push him off the circle. So go around another circle. Wait till he's relaxed. Don't worry about speeding him up too much until about 3/4 of a circle before you get ready to change.
Okay.
Just kind of let him slow down and get a little more relaxed there. Okay, so you're gonna change out here somewhere, okay?
Yep.
So count.
1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4.
There you go. Good man. Slow him down. Come off the fence a little bit. There you go. So what do you think happened that time?
I think it was definitely better. I really made a point to push that shoulder out of the circle before I changed.
And the other thing I do is pick that inside hand up, and I'd even exaggerate pushing his shoulders off a little more.
Okay.
Just even a little more. So let's go do it one more time, except now we're gonna have you change maybe over there, over in that corner somewhere.
Okay.
Okay? Don't be right up against the fence where you got nowhere to push him to, okay? So go around a whole lap, and when you get around there, you can change. If you're at any point you're unhappy with the circle, you don't change. If he's being pushy or heavy, don't change. Righto, speed him up a little bit.
1, 2, 3, 4.
That's all right. Excellent. Well, horses know what you're going to do before you do it. So after he changes leads and then you drop him to a trot, pretty soon they start thinking what? Lead change and drop to a trot. In a nice way, not in a lazy way, but in a soft, get relaxed way.
Yeah, that
okay,
makes
so
sense.
what'd you think about that one?
It was definitely a little bit better. Really pushed his shoulders off that time. Still sped up a little bit. It wasn't as good as the last one we did on the other side.
Yeah, and they're going to do that. Don't be too worried if they speed up a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
I'd much prefer that, to be honest, than those real lazy colts that just beat you and drop to a trot.
Okay.
You get what I'm saying? So what you got to do now is every day you change leads, your job's to put on a little less leg, but still get him to change.
Okay.
Does that
Yeah,
make
makes
sense? So but you just got to temper that. So the trick is now you're going to tinker with the lead changes on these colts every day. Just one, 2 to 4 every day. You know what I mean? And you're just going to tinker with it. But if you say, okay, I'm going to keep drilling on this and get another 8 lead changes, that's when you start acting like a predator. You are going to give me this change. The trick to changes is act like you're not even working on them.
Okay.
Just fart around with them, tinker with them. And after 2 months, they're changing like a little pro and they're not worried about it. Right, let's go get the next horse out and see what she does. Good job. Okay, Luke, go ahead. You've warmed her up now, and go ahead and lope a circle to the right, then come across the middle and counter canter. So lope a circle to the right first, and then we'll counter canter back to the left. So get your lead departure. That's nice. She didn't pick her head and neck up at all, and she stepped into it real soft. So you're going to come round, Luke, and lope one complete circle before you change, okay? And I'm going to have you change kind of out here in front of me again.
Okay.
But really exaggerate. Remember, 1, 2, 3, 4, change. That's it. Left leg on, left butt cheek. Hands low and wide. Lower and wider your hands get, the more leverage you have on them. So you're going to go one whole circle, then come back round. So you'll speed her up about 3/4 to halfway around before the change, okay? I don't want them speeding up the whole time they're counter-cantering, but leading up to that lead change, we're kind of, you know, just revving up. When I say revving up the engine, we just don't need her idling. Because if she's not driving from behind, it's going to be much harder for her to change leads. That's it. Step her up there a little more. About there. There you go. So start counting.
1, 2, 3, 4.
Keep going, keep going, keep going. Just keep loping for a bit and I'll talk to you. Keep loping. Keep loping.
What'd you say?
Keep loping, keep loping. Okay. Just keep loping. Now that time, she dropped to a trot, which tells you didn't what? Put enough leg on. So break it down and go set it up again. So it's not bad what she did, but read what she told you. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
The fact she dropped to a trot, you're gonna drive her a little more. So you need to put more leg on next time. I'm not upset that she dropped to a trot. So when she does that, that's why I told you to keep loping her so she's thinking forward. Make sense?
Yep.
So be pushing her a little more now. Not too much bend to her neck.
One, 2, 3, 4.
There you go. Keep loping, keep loping. Wait till she gets soft. Wait till she gets soft. Wait. There. Drop her down there. Okay, that was better, eh?
Yep.
So, the trick is you got to read what she's telling you and then make the adjustment from there. So first change, she broke down, got a little lazy. Not the end of the world. Not upset about that. But that's why I told you keep loping around. Keep her thinking forward, forward, forward. I'd much rather her do that than run off. Okay?
Yep.
Righto, let's go pick up the right lead again. This time, I want you to change leads over here a little bit more, okay? Lope a whole circle first. So don't have a speed up until halfway around the circle before the next one. So next time, you'll change about there. Wide hands. Don't get your hands real narrow. The wider and lower your hands, the more you drop a neck down. The closer your hands get in together, and the higher your hands, the higher a neck gets. Righto, so speed her up a little bit, just a little bit.
One, 2, 3, 4.
There you go, there you go. Keep loping till she's soft, then drop her down. Then drop her down. So what'd you think about that one?
She kind of tried to break down on me, I felt like, when I first went in to change. She kind of tried to break down the trot. Then after that, she stepped into it. She wasn't too bad about being stiff.
Yeah, I'm not worried about the stiffness. That just comes out when they get over being worried. Yeah, because it's new. You're kind of startling them just a little bit. When you change, they're not quite, you know, they're not quite knowing what the hell you're doing to them. So the stiffness just kind of takes care of itself as long as you're not releasing when they speed up. So go ahead and pick up the left lead, and now it's counter Ken to the right. Take your time. Don't push your hip up quite so much. Righto. Kiss to her. Righto. Lope a whole circle first. So go around a whole nother circle, okay? You don't even want to be in a hurry. If they feel tight or nervous, don't change. Just keep going around till they relax. Just because we're on camera here, don't feel like you have to be in a hurry. If you're not happy with the horse, train the horse. Righto. So speed her up a little bit, change kind of here. Don't get too much bend to her neck. Don't get too much bend to her neck.
1, 2, 3.
There you go. Wait, keep going around. Come off the fence a little bit. Come off the fence. Wait till she gets soft. Keep loping till she gets soft. There, now break it down. So Luke, be conscious that you don't have too much bend to her neck when you go to change, because that puts her in too much of an awkward position, doesn't it?
Yes.
Okay, so just let her straight. I'm not saying let her get perfectly straight, but don't ask her to bend when the friggin' nose is around your foot. You get what I'm saying? Okay? And again, I would prefer not to break her down to a trot until she's loped soft into my hands.
Okay, yeah.
If they're really rude, yeah, I'll break them down to a trot right then and there, you know, and soften them up. But if they're not being horribly rude in the face, wait till they get soft, and then when you drop them down, it's like a reward for them at that point. Right, let's try it again. This time you're going to change a little bit further over there. There, that was good line, real nice lead departure. So if she's not relaxed, go around again. If you're not relaxed, you don't change. That simple. So Luke, you're going to change over there a bit more, okay? So you're going to count your rhythm out. You're going to get a little straighter.
One, two, three, four.
Keep loping, keep loping, keep loping, keep... Okay, keep loping. Keep loping. Keep loping. Wait till she gets soft. Righto, break it down. Break it down. So she trotted, so what's that tell you?
Not enough driving her.
Not enough driving with your leg. So that's your fault. So go do it again, but you know she's probably going to break to a trot on you again.
Yep.
So more legs, so go do it again. Pick up left lead. To drive. This time, change over near Lexall over there in the corner. Don't get too close to the corner, though. Now remember, leg all the way through the change. So go around again and change over in that corner. But knowing that you got to keep your leg on through the change.
One, two, three.
There you go. Wait, wait, wait. Wait till she gets soft. Wait. Slow her down. Slow her down. Radio. There. That's all right. That's all right. Trot 3 circles. You've got to trot those 3 circles before you let her walk. 3's the magic number, no less than 3. Okay, so what'd you feel that time?
I felt like that one was pretty good. That was probably our best one. I used a lot more leg and kept her moving through it.
Yeah, but that's a good point. Kept her moving through it. Face this way. A lot of people put the leg on and kind of get the change or think they've got the change, and then they kind of take the leg off. Mm-hmm. You said a good, important thing there. Ride her through it. Get the change and kind of keep riding mentally. I'm not saying you keep digging your spur in or whatever, but you mentally keep thinking go. Not drop. Don't let the car die in the ass. You get what I'm trying to say there? That's an important part of it. That's where me having you do this is helping me teach this. So yes, that is an important part. Don't put the leg on, take it off. Put it on and ride, ride, ride. Mentally you're thinking ride, ride. Just like you were thinking drive, drive, drive before the turn, before the change, sorry. Think drive, drive, drive after it. Obviously, if they're, pissing off and running off with you, you're not going to be thinking that much, about running off. Yeah. You're going to think about come back. Okay, so after we've done some changes like that, what I like to do then is just spend a little friendly time then, just kind of loping around. Lope a couple of canter and lope back this way and spend the next 10 minutes just having some friendly time where you're taking the pressure off.
Okay.
Yeah. I don't want her to finish with the lead change because there's a little bit of pressure there, isn't there? Yep. I want her to finish just quiet, relaxed, easygoing, etc. Yeah. And then tomorrow, if she did come out kind of on the peck and nervous, I may not change leads tomorrow. I might just go back and set her up. Here's the deal. She's thinking about changing. She's worried about changing. You don't change. Go back to the foundation. And that will happen to me. Every once in a while, I'll get a colt that changed pretty good. And I thought the lesson went well, but I'll come out the next day and they're a little bit on the muscle, a little bit worried. And I'm like, I just got to go reset my foundation again. I'll spend a day or two cigars and cantering, take that worry away, and then I'm good to go again. But if I come out the second day and she's already tight and worried, you know what I mean? And if she is tight and worried when you canter, you can come through the middle and then just reset the button and go back that way and then go canter again and then come back one circle that way and go back. And that, because she's thinking canter change. You need to get her thinking canter and we're going to head back on the other lead. That will stop her from thinking any second now he's going to kick me with that spur. So as she gets better, that kind of bump with the leg turns into just a press with the leg. And you know what I mean? It refines over time. But you're better off, as much as I hate to say this, because I don't want people to think the idea is to friggin', rear back and thump a hole in their rib. You're better off putting a little too much leg on initially and getting the change than putting the leg on and then having to build. Because what usually happens is when you start building the leg, then they think faster. They just think run off rather than push, 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 change. So what do you got to say about that? Anything you've noticed anything or anything you want to say about the whole thing? Because this is the first time, I've had you change leads on anything that doesn't know how to change. You've been changing some leads on an older horse to get the feel of it, but these ones don't know anything about it.
Definitely the importance of, speeding them up a little bit, and then right before I change, kind of pushing the shoulder off a little extra, pushing them out of the circle.
Exaggerating it?
Yes, and then definitely, using a lot more of that outside leg and pushing them through that change. With both the horses, I didn't use quite enough leg for a couple times, and then they, either were late on the change or broke down with the trot or something like that.
Yeah. Yeah.
So.
Yeah. There's a fine line on this. Too much leg and then you're upsetting them and you're running off. Not enough leg and the damn things won't change.
Yeah.
You get what I'm saying? But can you see now why if we would have started this without a good foundation, it'd be difficult, wouldn't it? If you've got a horse that's running through your hands and not soft and doesn't move his 5 body parts, it'd be difficult to teach him to change, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
Not without a big fight. put it that way, okay? The only thing I would do different is if I had one that really didn't want to change, I would have to go and really exaggerate by pushing that shoulder off and then change it. Let's do it with her just for shits and giggles to kind of show you what to do and show the people at home. But so what I'm going to have you do now is you're going to lope a circle to the right on the right lead. And what you're going to do is you're going to come round and you're actually going to counter bend it to the right, really push her off, and then you're going to change. Does that make sense?
Okay.
So just lope around the circle to the right. I'll kind of walk you through it. Rightio. So when you get to the center, just reverse, just counter bender, keep loping right, but in a smaller circle. So counter bender there, shape her to the left, push her off, right hand down, push her off, push her off, push her off, keep driving, drive, 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 come on, drive. Get ready, change. There. Lope a couple circles this way. Come over here. Come over here a little bit, stay in the middle a little bit. Just come over here a bit more. Just kind of lope towards the center there. Okay, lope it right there. Lope a circle there. Come my way a little more. Okay, so reverse archer, counter bender. Left hand down, push her off. Keep going around. Pull that left rein. Don't let her speed up. Keep going around, keep pushing, get ready. Now. There, see that exaggerated hip come over?
Yeah.
Did you really feel that hip poke out to the right?
Yep.
Okay, now just break it down, let her trot. She's been a good girl. So if I had a real dead horse that had no friggin' try on him, I'd have to go do that to him.
Okay.
I'm just exaggerating what? Shoulder,
yeah.
shoulder, 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 and I don't know if you could feel it, but when you changed that time, that hip really drove over there.
It's almost already over there.
It was already over there.
Yeah.
You're dead set right. That's why you do it. Look, the ass is already there.
Yeah.
So it takes very little to get it over there, doesn't it?
Yep.
So you're just exaggerating, get the shoulder out of the road and free up for the hind leg to come forward. So I'll do that if I've got a horse that's not real talented at it, doesn't have a lot of try, dumb as a bag of rocks. You get what I'm saying? Yeah. Like, that's not my go-to because I've got to be a little more extreme about it, don't I?
Right.
Like, I'm in their face a bit more. I'm stirring them up a little bit more. Yeah. You know, get what I'm trying to say? I'd rather do it the easy. So 9 out of 10 horses, what we've been doing will work just fine. You know, 1 out of 10 or 1 out of 20 will need you to counterbend them and then set that up.
Yeah.
But if you did that too much, what do you think will happen as soon as you go to counterbend them?
They'll
really anticipate it, won't they? So that's when you got to come back and do even more of that. So now what I want you to do, we're going to turn the camera off. We're just going to sit here for 10 minutes, let her air up for 10 minutes, and then we'll turn the camera off, and I just want you to spend a little friendly time with her, loping her around and dropping her down to a trot and doing some counterbending, a few cigars, and just finish off with her feeling like, okay, Luke's not out to poke me with a spur, he's not out to give me a hard time, we're going back to that good foundation. That's why when you don't change leads too early, you've always got a great foundation to go back to. But when you start changing leads too early and you know, basically shit starts falling apart, you've got nothing to go back to. You can't fix anything.
Right.
Well, you can't build anything because there was nothing there to build on top of. You know, if your house falls down, you've got a good foundation, you build back on the foundation. But if you don't even have a foundation, then you've got nothing to start from. Right, mate, good job. Now, mate, that you've seen the previous 2-year-olds about, you know, the preparation that it takes to teach the horses to change leads, what body parts need to be moving, the exercises leading up to it, you know, basically all the prep work. And to me, personally, I think that's where all the work is. When you do all your prep work correctly and do it thoroughly, The lead change part of it is relatively easy. You know, I'm not going to say every horse is going to do it really well, but most of it's done for you if you do your prep work correctly. So basically, we've got about 4 or 5 2-year-olds now that I'm riding that we're going to work on changing leads, okay? All these 2-year-olds have roughly had about 6 months worth of training, okay? I've got some reining horses, I've got some working cow horse 2-year-olds, etc. And they're all roughly about the same point. And I've been changing leads on all of these horses now for about 4 weeks. So, mate, you'll notice in the intermediate section of the leads and lead changes, the horses that I'm riding, I've already started changing leads with them when they'd had 6 months of riding, and I'd already been changing for roughly about a month before them. Where the other horses in the beginning, they'd had close to 8 months of training before we started changing leads. The main difference is this: we filmed these horses a year apart from each other. So actually the intermediate section of this series was actually filmed a year ago. And those horses, I rode them from the time they'd had 20 rides on them. Well, obviously because I rode them myself, I could advance them a little bit quicker, and I've just been doing it, you know, for 20 plus years. Luke had done the majority of training on the other 2-year-olds, and so obviously he's learning how to train a performance horse, so those horses didn't advance quite as quickly as what they would have if I was riding them. Here's the deal. Change leads when the horse is ready, they're not confused, they're confident in their job, and they know what the answer is going to be. Whether it's 6 months, 8 months, or a year and a half, what really matters is when the horse is ready. So we've tried to give you a pretty good idea of how broke they need to be to start changing leads, how broke they need to be kind of in the middle section, and how broke they need to be at the end. Now, when I say changing leads, I probably change a couple of leads every day, once each way, or maybe 2 or 3 times if they didn't do it real good. But basically, on average, a couple of times a day for the last 3 to 4 weeks, okay? They're all changing leads, some changing leads better than others. Some of them are more natural than others. A couple of them aren't changing as good as I'd like them to, so they're going to make mistakes. So basically, I thought that the idea of this DVD series was to come up with basically 3 distinctive layers. We've got our very beginning horses and the prep work to show you how to start teaching a lead change. Then we've got this section here, which I'll call kind of the mid-section. They know how to do it, but they're not quite as good as they need to be. We've got to keep working on it. Here are some problems to fix, blah, blah, blah. And then we've got kind of the end segment, which is, you know, a couple of our more finished horses that know how to do it. They're very good at changing leads, and I'll show you different exercises and drills that you work on for that finished polish work, so to speak. So we're kind of in that middle section right here, okay? So this is a 2-year-old filly. Her name is Ariel. She's a reigning futurity horse for next year. She's by a horse called Chromed Out Mercedes, which is a horse that I bred and raised at Bob Loomis stands. And she's a good-minded mare. She's lazy. She's real good-minded. She'd rather not be in trouble than be in trouble. She's relatively good in the face. She's a little lazy off my leg. You know, when I pick her up and move her off it, she'll do it, but, you know, every once in a while I'm going to have to kick her pretty hard to make her take me seriously. So she does everything, but she's a tad bit lazy on my legs, which is not all that bad. It's just something you've got to be aware of, okay? So what I'm going to do is lope her around. I'm going to talk about each horse's strengths, each horse's weaknesses, and then tell you what I'm doing to kind of fix that, and then we'll start getting into changing leads, okay? So to begin with, I've just been warming her up a little bit. Let's lope her off. That's the kind of lead departure I'm looking for, where she doesn't pick her head up, she stays in frame. See how she's very kind of rated back to me, like right then. She's not used to me talking like this a lot when I ride her, because obviously when I'm riding by myself, I'm not talking like this. So she's kind of guessing what I'm doing just there, just a little bit, where she was kind of rating back to me, which I consider to be a really good thing, okay? So lead changes, it's not necessarily something that I'm going to actually change leads every day. Some days I just work on the parts of the lead change that are giving me trouble, which is if the preparation to the lead change is not good, the lead change is not going to be good. So some horses get to anticipating too much, where I need to go back and work on the cigar exercise, or work on counter bending, or counter cantering, etc. So with Ariel, I'm just working on that face, getting her to soften that chin down, and then turning loose. I want her to arc to the inside. I love that when she'll just lay that neck out like that. Okay, so before I get into the lead change, I just want to warm her up a little bit here. Make sure she's honoring that bridle for the inside. Bend around that inside leg. Okay, I don't care. I like where she keeps her head right now, actually, but if it was higher, that'd be all right, as long as she gets soft when I pick up on the rein. Okay, some other little suppling things I'm gonna do to her is I'm gonna counter bend her here at the lope, and then I'm gonna take her nose back to the inside and push her out. I'm just kind of breaking her body up, breaking that neck up and head and neck from her shoulders to make sure I can influence it both left and right. Okay, pulling that nose to the outside, pulling that nose to the inside. She's a little stiff here. I might tug on her a little bit, bump on her lips. I'll pick up with steady pressure, but if I need to jerk on her or get more aggressive, I certainly will. But I'm gonna ask her with just gentle, steady pressure first. There we go. Excellent. I'm gonna come through the middle. I'm gonna counter can her some, okay? So at this point of the game, she knows how to change leads, so I don't necessarily change her the same way every day, meaning that I'm not gonna always change her out of a counter canner. I'm not always gonna change her out of a cigar exercise. I'm gonna try to mix it up so that she doesn't quite know where I'm gonna change her or how I'm gonna change her as far as the prep work. That seems to be the biggest thing that keeps horses honest, is them not knowing quite when that lead change is gonna come, okay? So I want a soft here on my hands. Now I might take her back off. I might put her in a tighter circle here, make her reach a little bit more. There we go. Jog her around 2 or 3 circles and go the other way. So each horse that you see me ride today, I'll be doing a lot of the same things, but I'll do them slightly different depending on the horse. I might do more of them, less of them. So I'm trying to just kind of give you a play-by-play of how I'd be training them if the cameras weren't here, okay? We're gonna try our best not to edit anything out as far as ugliness on the horse's part. If I need to, you know, kick their ass a little bit or get after them because they're being bad, I want to show you that on film. You know, I want you to see as real as possible what this is. To me, just showing you all the, what I'll call cutesy stuff is not real, okay? A lot of the time I'll pick her up and push that hip to the inside. That is a lot to do with the lead change right there, is making sure when you put that outside leg on, that they'll move their hip to the inside and soften that chin down. Okay, so a lot of the time I'll press with the leg, then pick this inside hand up like this. Eventually I want to get them so broke, as soon as I put that outside leg on, they look to the inside and they push, their nose comes to the inside and their hip does as well. If you can get a horse to where they'll lope 2 or 3 strides like that, you'll be in much better shape. She's naturally a lot softer to the left than what she is to the right. Okay, every horse has got one side that's a better circling horse than the other. Okay? I like this, I call it hinging on the circle. Pulling that nose from side to side and just getting them to keep loping. Getting all those kinks out. A little stiff right there. A little stiff. I'm just looking, I'm like a detective. I'm looking for any of those little, oh no, don't pull on me there. Oh no, don't, I'm not gonna give you that chin. Right out. I feel like she's warmed up enough now. Let's start working on our lead change. So I'm going to pick her up, work on my cigar a few times. When I get her soft, turn back the other way. Pick her up, move her off again. There's some days with a horse, I'll just come out and do nothing but cigar exercise with them. You know, if they're stiff or they're anticipating the lead change too much, this is all I'll do with them. Until they get soft, they're not anticipating me, they're not fighting me. She's being pretty good right here. She doesn't feel like she's anticipating, and she feels like she's getting off my hands pretty good. Okay, I'm going to let her come around the circle and we'll change leads on her. So she's given me no indication that she's not ready to change leads. I want them to hold that arc, so if you see me tug on them like that, I want them to hold that arc. So I'm going to pick her up. I'm not going to bend her head a hell of a lot, just kind of move that shoulder over, move that body over a little bit, and cluck, change leads. Keep eloping, keep eloping. She's thinking about trotting. She's thinking about trotting. Keep eloping. Now I'll let her trot. Now I really like what she did just then. She braced up just a smidgen when I changed leads, which is normal for, you know, her experience. But then as soon as she changed, she knew I was going to trot her. So she was like, come on, Clinton, let's slow down. Let's slow down. And I said, no, let's keep going, Ariel. Let's keep going. Let's keep loping. Let's keep loping. Let's keep loping. So that's what I call a nice problem to have, okay? She was wanting to slow down after a lead change, and I was wanting to keep loping. That's the opposite. Most horses want to change leads and then keep building speed, okay? So let's go set her up this way. And once they get broke like she is, you can do this anywhere in the arena. You don't have to always do it diagonally. You can go across the arena. A lot of it just depends on the size of an arena you have. She feels pretty good here. She's not anticipating it at all, which is good. Righto, she's giving me the green light. She's soft, she's staying off my hands. I'm pushing her. 1, 2, 3, 4. Change. Now right there, let's talk about that there. She got the front lead, but not the rear one. So I'm going to turn her around to the outside, okay? And then I'm going to pick up the right lead again and try again. So she changed up front, but not behind. Pushing 1, 2, 3, 4. So that time I used a little more leg. I've still got my right leg on. I keep pushing, make sure she's soft, and then drop her down to a trot. I don't let them drop down to a trot until I've got that softness at the lope. And then it's almost like the trot is the reward then. So that was a typical example of her being a little lazy. So she told me, Clinton, next time you change leads, put a little extra leg on, push a little harder with that spur because, you know, I'm a little lazy and I'm not going to get off it as well as you want. So I'm going to be aware of that. Okay? So let's go do this again. All right, get that lead departure correct. I'm pushing her off, making sure she's soft, soft, soft. There. Keep it going, keep it going, keep it going, keep going. She's trying to stop, she's trying to stop, she's trying to stop. There. Pretty good, good girl. Get one the other way. And then, honestly, if she does that, I'd be happy with her for today. I find with the lead change, me personally, I get more results if I just change a couple of leads every day for a year and a half than what I do trying to do 7 or 8 changes every day. It's almost like the more of an issue you make of it, the more of the issue they start protecting themselves. So even though she fumbled one, that's part of being a 2-year-old, she's gonna fumble it, okay, every once in a while. Push her off. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3. There again, she fumbled it. I'm gonna turn her around, reprimand her a little bit here, okay? Turn her around again. So let's go try that again. So she's kind of lazy with that hindquarters, isn't she? She'll change up front, but a little lazy behind. So I'm gonna take a note of that. I'm gonna push her off a little more extreme. Push her off more extreme. There. The lazier they are about bringing that hind leg up and changing, the more extreme I need to be about pushing those shoulders off. So instead of just kind of coming across the diagonal, I actually brought her shoulders off almost in a circle. Let me show you what I'm talking about. So, typically I might just come across at an angle like this across the arena. But if I've got one that's giving me more trouble, I'm gonna push them off, push those shoulders, push those shoulders, push those shoulders. There. She thought about going left just then, I'll go right. By clearing those shoulders more, it allows that hindquarters to come up. I'll show you this way. I'm gonna bring her around and change my shape, pushing, clearing, get the hind leg. See that hindquarters come up just then? Okay, that's what it's about, is clearing the shoulder to let the hip come up. So even though she fumbled a couple balls there, I'm not worried about that. That's pretty typical of a 2-year-old, you know. She'll do good like that and then she'll get a little lazy one day. That's just kind of her a little bit. But, you know, I made the correction. You know, I didn't kill her and get after her real bad, but I certainly kicked her ass a little bit to the way she took me seriously. I got a couple of nice changes, I'm done, okay? So, you know, I might give her a rest now and then go work on something else. If I think there's a problem with the body parts, I might spend a few minutes. I might spend a few minutes now just moving her body parts around, moving a hip up, moving a hip the other way, okay? So again, if I feel like the lead changes is coming from a stiff body part, I abort the lead changing and work on the body part or parts that are stiff. I felt like she screwed up a couple of those fumbles just then, not because her body parts weren't moving, because she was a little lazy. She was a little tardish on my leg. Like when I put my leg on, she's like, whatever. You know, that's kind of her personality a little bit. She's very laid back, which has a lot of positives to it, believe me. You know, some of those horses that are so sensitive, you know, you fart and they're moving left and right, they're a lot harder to train. So even though she's a little dull in some areas, I don't mind that, okay? I'll say, hey, come on, pull your finger out, get off my leg, pay attention, please. And she's like, okay, you caught me, I was snoozing, let's get with it. So, so she didn't really have a body part issue today. I felt like it was a little bit more of a laziness issue. And talking about a laziness issue, if I know they're gonna be lazy during the change, I'm gonna speed them up before that change some. Let me just do one more so we're clear about this. Like, because I know she's a little bit lazy there, okay, I'm gonna maybe speed her up a little bit here. I'm gonna get those feet moving. I'm gonna push, come on, ride. I'm speeding her up. There, change. Okay, so if I know I've got one that wants to break gait, I know I've got one that is a little bit tardish on my leg and won't get off it and kind of be a little fat and lazy on it, I'm gonna build that speed. And did you notice that time she changed? She's pretty damn smooth right then. So you know, I might need to go and do that with her. In fact, I will. Tomorrow when I train her, I'm going to speed her up just a smidgen before I go change leads on her. And I think that'll clean a lot of her up there to get that. But so I change 4 or 5 leads, and I will do that from time to time. I'm probably going to do a lot more of it on camera with you guys because I'm trying to show you as much as I can while I'm in front of the camera. But as a good rule of thumb, if they do 2 pretty decent changes, they won't be perfect changes, but decent changes without not a lot of drama, I'll just leave it at 1 change each way every day. So, as a general rule, are there days I'll change 10 leads? Absolutely. Are there several days in a row where I won't change leads at all and I'll just work on the body parts and positioning? Absolutely. As soon as they start anticipating too much, as soon as they start guessing what I'm going to do, I change the program. I mix it up. I want them like a virgin running across that pen. They don't know what's going to happen. Because when they're not guessing about the lead change, they'll change leads. When they're thinking lead change, lead change, lead change, lead change, that's when all the trouble usually starts to arise, okay? So I'm going to talk a little bit now about the corrections I made to Ariel and why I did them. You notice when she messed up the lead a couple of times that I would spin her around. Why do I do that? Because I like to spin them around kind of on my foot like this. I'll turn them around and I'll kick on them a little bit and I'll turn her around with her head on my foot. That gets me a lot of suppleness through their body, and I can kind of jerk on them a little bit and kind of reprimand and say, give me that face. Because usually when they're not changing leads very well, 2 things are happening. They're either being stiff in the face and not giving me their chin, or they're being stiff through the body and they're not moving a body part, which ends up showing up in the face as well. So they're kind of both related to some degree. So basically, let's say, for example, she's on the right lead right now, and I'm going across the pen. I'm getting ready to change. So my left leg's on, left leg's on, left leg's on. When I change, she changed up front, but she didn't change behind. So which way I would spin her would be the opposite way that her front end was going. So I'll spin her around to the right because now it allows me to pick up the right lead again. Okay, so if I'm on the right lead, imagine I'm cantering. I'm pushing her across the pen. I'm setting her up, setting her up, setting her up. I change leads. Instead of changing, she kind of dives into the lead change. Again, I spin her around to the outside, get her soft, and then lope off again. Now, I won't always spin them around. It's probably my #1 go-to, you know, come here, listen to me, soften up, get your crap together, exercise. You know what I mean? Sometimes if I really think they're bad, I'll just go ahead and move them off my leg. Like, for example, if she won't get off my leg, I might just spend a few minutes just doing a little 2-track in stage 1, jogging her around and moving her off that leg there and say, come on, get off that leg. I might reach across with the rein and spank her ass a little bit. Whoa, okay? And make her get off there. I'll do whatever it takes to get her to take me seriously. If she's not moving a hip, I might put my leg back and yield that hindquarters. You know, that's why we're going to ride a variety of horses, because I guarantee between all of them, you're going to see me do a little bit of different with every horse. That's why as we get into these type of subjects like lead changes, there's not one fixes all. There's different things that work on different horses. So I'm going to show you kind of the entire menu and let you pick the correction that you think is necessary for the horse. And I'll tell you when I think the correction is necessary, but it's not just a hard and fast rule. So this is another 2-year-old here. He's a 2-year-old stud colt by Chromed Out Mercedes. He's out of a mare that I showed called Nick and Smart. Her barn name's Remelina, but her name's Nick and Smart. She's a Reminick mare out of a Smart Chickalina mare. Her mother the Chickalina mare, her name was Cowgirls Are Smart, and she won the world's greatest horseman contest a few years ago. Very talented mare. So, and I showed his mother, this one's mother, and she had a lot of fear. I wish I had her back again to show again now. I changed quite a few things and do things better than what I did, but that's what you're always trying to do. Every horse I train, I always feel like, man, I wish I could go train that again because I do a better job. And that's how it should be. Every horse you train, you should be feeling like you're getting better. Your skill set is getting better. You could help the horse more. So, again, he's had basically 6 months worth of riding. Been changing leads for about a month, and we're going to walk through it. So you're going to notice the warm-up that I do is about the same on every horse, but there's going to be different parts of it that I concentrate just a little bit more, because every day I bring them out, each body part of each horse is going to be a little bit different. Like today, his shoulders might be a little bit stiff. Tomorrow, his hindquarters might be more stiff. The next day, he may not move his rib cage as good as I want. So basically, in reality, when I'm doing a warm-up on a horse, and this is not just for the leads and lead changes, this is for anything, I'm basically being a detective. I'm going sniffing around my horse. Hey, listen, where are you stiff? What's your attitude like today? Are you going to move off my leg? How are you feeling? Like right then, when I put on that left leg to push his hip up, he kind of gained a little speed just then. Well, if that happens at the trot, it's going to happen even more at the lope, isn't it? So he just gave me a little red flag there, but I need to practice my lead changing at the trot, which is I'm pushing his, imagine I'm on the right lead. I'm pushing his shoulders over, a little bit of stiffness here. So I'm going to get rid of this stiffness. Pushing his shoulders over, pushing his shoulders over, pushing his shoulders over. There, stiffness is gone. Take my left leg off, put my right leg on. There, that was better. He moved that hip up, but he didn't kind of get pushy into my hands. Okay, so maybe my leg just surprised him, maybe it didn't. But that's what I'm basically doing, is being a detective. I'm just practicing moving those body parts around, because whatever stiffness I've got at the trot, I promise you, now that was better. That time when I put that left leg on just then, he didn't try to speed up. Whatever stiffness I've got at the trot, I promise you, only gets worse the faster the horse goes, okay? So I might bring him back here and just move this hindquarters a little bit. If it's a little overreactive, I'm gonna move it around here and keep my leg here until he relaxes. I want my horse, this horse is a little bit the opposite of Ariel, is that he almost moves off my leg too much. Like he's a little too sensitive, where he wants to overreact just a little bit there, okay? So I'm gonna come back and just move these hindquarters around, disengage these hindquarters until he gets soft and relaxed. So each horse every day, I'll warm them up slightly different, but they're all getting the same thing. I'm just checking their body parts. I'm checking to see if everything's good. Now, if everything checks out pretty good, you know, I'm only going to jog them around for, 5 minutes at best, okay? If I feel like there's a few more issues there that I need to address, well, obviously the warm-up might be a little bit longer, okay? There we go. I just want to get all the kinks out of my horses so that they're listening to my hands and my legs. So that's why I'm showing you the warm-up on all 5 2-year-olds today, because I'll guarantee by the time I get through all 5 of them, you'll pretty much see every part of warming up that I've got and how I use it, okay? If I've got one that's a little funny about putting my leg on, I do a lot of lead changes at the trot, where I just practice pushing that hip from side to side like I'm doing here, and just get all those kinks out of that horse. There we go. Righto, let's get started here. I'm just checking that inside rein. Make sure he'll hold his arc to the inside. Make sure he'll soften. He feels just a little heavy there today, loping around when I pick up on that inside rein, so that was better. So I do the same checklist basically on every horse. There, I like that. That was better. When I picked up that rein, there, he softened immediately, and I didn't really even have to put my leg on. I'm gonna practice putting my outside leg on. Because he's a little bit goofy about that leg coming on and not being as comfortable, I'm gonna work on pushing his hip up more with him than what I did Ariel. He's pretty good softening to the inside. He was a little stiff when I first picked up, and I kind of bumped on him and reminded him of his job. but he needs more confidence pushing that hip to the inside there, like that, and not speeding up, not speeding his feet up, and not getting stiff in the face. So that's where his little stiffness spot is in my mind right now, is just getting that better. And you can't, you know, I'm not pushing the hip way up to his ear, but I want to feel it just move in like that, a couple of strides. He doesn't have to keep his hip up there, but he does need to honor that leg there. So what I do is I'm going to ask him with my leg, tell him with my hand, my inside hand. So I press with my left leg, and then I kind of bump up or bump back with that right rein to get him to look in. So most of the time I probably pull up. I get a better arc to their neck when I pull up like that, or bump up. I'm not saying I won't pull to my hip, but there, I like that. Probably about 3/4 of the horses eventually, they'll just look to the inside when you press them with that outside leg. There are some horses that aren't real bright that you will always have to help them with that inside rein to the day they die. I've just kind of learned to accept that. But most of them will do it. So I ask him with my leg, there, tell him with my hand. Watch. Ask him with my leg, tell him with my hand. Until, you know, with repetition. There, he kind of did it there. He looked to the inside. He does it. There. I'm going to go ahead. Now see there, I went to counter canter him. I'm going to spin him around to the right because he kind of dove into the left, tried to pick up that left lead. So I'm going to get him soft here. I'm going to go try that again. So I spun him around to the right just then because he tried to change leads to the left. Okay, well, he kind of dropped to a trot and then picked up the left lead. So all I was trying to do then is just counter canter him and just do a little more warming up, and he didn't respond real good. So I'm going to pick him up, keep driving. My left leg is on. My right leg is off. He thought about actually changing leads then as I got closer to that fence. So he's telling me lead changes on his mind a little more than what I'd like. So I'm going to spend some time just counter cantering here and getting that lead change off his mind. Even when I'm counter cantering, I want him to still look to the inside. And here's what I'll do as a little retreat, is I'll actually go and circle him now back to the right, kind of a small circle. And then I get to practice setting him up again. Pick him up, set him up, but don't change. Because every time I go into a counter canter and then back to the correct lead without changing leads, it makes him wait even more. Like I could lope 10 circles on the counter canter and that'll help him not anticipate. Like right then he thought about changing leads. Okay, I've got my left leg calf on, my right leg is off. But every time, watch this, when I get somewhere, it could be the middle, it could be anywhere really. When I come back and do this, it was like, see, I tricked you, didn't I? I went left and I didn't even change leads. And now I come back and say, hey, I'm gonna trick you again, okay? So some days I'll come out and do nothing but that. Counter canter a circle, lope a circle on the correct lead. Counter canter a circle, lope a lead on the correct lead. I just fart around and mix it up, okay? I keep one step ahead of them at all times. Okay, like right there, now I kind of felt him speed up just a smidgen just there. So I'll take him back to the right. Now I'll set him back up again. Now I might mix it up and, you know, counter bend him the opposite way. Make sure he gets soft here. Now go back with the correct shape. Look in now. I don't want him looking to the outside of the circle. I hate horses running around with their shoulder to the inside, looking to the outside, with their head and neck. I'm gonna pick him up again. For sure, I'm not going to change leads out of the counter canter with him because it's on his mind. I can tell, but he's just begging for me to take this left leg off and put my right one on, and he's going to change. So I want to start working on a lead change now. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to work on it, okay, from the cigar exercise. I'm going to cigar him here, push his shoulders off, make sure he's soft in my hands. Okay, I'll tug on him a little bit here and come back to the right. Outside rein. Now pick him up again. So far, there's been no anticipation here at all. Little heavy in my hands every once in a while, but not too bad. Now take him back this way. Now, if I have to jerk that inside rein a couple of times to make him get soft, I'll do whatever it takes. I'll pick up softly though, ask him politely, and then, you know, to be as aggressive as I need to be to get the job done. But it's important that at that time he's being real nice in my hand, so I'm being real quiet. So, he's for sure telling me, Clinton, I'm ready to change leads. There's no anticipation. He's straight, he's got his neck bent, he's moving off my leg. He's not even thinking about changing leads. So this is where you go and change leads. Okay, I'll bring him over here. Hopefully the camera can see on this angle a little bit better. So I'm going to ride straight to this camera here in front of me. I'm riding straight to this camera. Straight. Now I count to 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. There. Change leads. A little bit forward. He's soft now. And now I'm going to ask him to trot. So right then when I changed, he sped up just a smidgen, not horrible, but there was a little change in speed. So I just waited till he softened back to my hands, and then I said, Pluto, good boy, buddy. Let's come back to a trot, please, and let's just get a little softness here and get relaxed, and then we'll go do it again. So, new side, new brain. Let's go back this way. This is his better way of loping. Most of my horses lope, a little stiff there, better to the left than what they do the right. So I try to naturally spend more time on the right to try to balance that. There, good boy, I like that softness. When the horse gets their pole, the leather of the bridle, the top of that bridle, when they start getting that up above the saddle horn, it's not if you're starting to get into trouble, it's just when. So let's see what he's like this way. I'm going to push him off. I'm going to go counter canter him. Thought about changing there just for a split second, but then decided not to. Horses are kind of like little kids. You know when kids are learning to talk, you'll teach them a new word. Well, then that's the only damn word they say for the next 2 weeks. Like they're like little parrots. They get a word, and then that word is what their answer is for everything. Well, horses are a little bit the same way. Especially with lead changes. Once you teach them how to change leads, especially the good-minded horses, they're like, okay, can I change leads? Let's change. Come on. Let's change, Clinton. You show me how to change, let's change. And then I've got to say, no, come on, listen. I appreciate your enthusiasm, but I don't want you to change leads until I ask. So now you've got to teach them to only say that word when you ask for it. That's not bad, it's just what happens. So he's feeling pretty soft in my hands right now. Feeling pretty soft on my leg. Okay, so not a lot of anticipation this way, the way he was the other way. So I'm going to push him off here. And now go into my cigar exercise. So why didn't I spend some time doing some more counter cantering? Because he showed me very little anticipation. Okay, so the other side, I did quite a few approach and retreats out of the counter canter. This side I have not, because he hasn't felt like he needed it. He's feeling very good on this side. Okay, so now what I'm gonna do is I'll set it up to come to the other camera in the corner of the arena. Little stiff right there. So I'm gonna ride straight to this camera down here. I've got his head tipped to the right, my right leg's on, my left leg's off. I count to 4. 1, 2, 3, 4, change. Good boy. Keep him in my hands here, keep him soft, and then we trot our circle. So that time, I felt like he didn't really speed up at all. That was pretty good for him, you know? For 6 months worth of riding, it's real good. If I just get a couple of lead changes out of him every day, how in another 6 months, he'll be changing leads like a pro. Good boy. So, overall, I would be done if I was, you know, not here with the camera and I was just training him without you guys watching. I'd be done with the lead change part of my training today, like right now. Now, I would normally let him air up right now, and then I might work on some spins or stops or something else. Hell, I might even get off too, depending on the horse and what I've done. But as far as the subject of changing leads goes, he's done, okay? So is it unusual? Let's wait till he gets soft. Good boy. Is it unusual to have one side give you a lot of trouble and the other side's pretty good? No, very common, happens all the time. Don't panic about that. Just treat each horse as a separate horse. We've got lefty, we've got righty. So counter-cantering on the right lead to the left, he was anticipating a lot, so I worked on that. Going on this left lead, counter-cantering to the right on the left lead, he didn't anticipate hardly at all, so I just loped a couple of circles, okay? There are days that I come out here, especially as they get more advanced, where I do nothing but counter-canter, both leads, each direction. There's something about counter-cantering a horse that really gets them to wait for you, really gets them to listen. You know what I mean? So I'll come out here and never lope on the correct lead for a whole session or two. And I always find when I make myself go back and do that, man, when I do get them on the correct lead, they just feel better for some reason. They feel softer, more balanced, more collected, etc. So, as you can tell, that didn't override his boat. He wasn't perfect, but he doesn't need to be. When he sped up, I slowed him down, I wait till he relaxed, I dropped him down to a trot. Now I'd let him air up and you know, I might go work on spins now or some other part of the reining pattern, so to speak, as far as the maneuvers go before I put him away. I might just go work on backing him. A lot of people don't realize this, but backing, in my opinion, is a maneuver. So I practice just backing the horse up, getting him to back up with softness and collection. So his head's down, give him a little air now, and then I'd go back after working on something else. So let's get the next horse out and see what they do.